This is Gobi lantern. I think it's certainly a cool lantern, but it may be used for some other purpose. The first thing I tried was fill it with water. Don't do that because really this is a lantern and the bottom, there's no bottom. So do not do that. But I mean, these are the kind of experimentation that helps you understand the different products possibilities. But this is another one where I am going to try to use these the festive tree, because again, it's a Christmas item, but because of the color range that it comes in, it really becomes a very good accent and a finish to certain possible designs. And it just so happens that this fits very nicely into this container, suspended like this without touching the bottom, which I really particularly like. So what I'm going to do is actually make it so that it becomes a base for an arrangement. And I'm going to simply take a piece of foam, and I'm just sort of doing it dry so you can just at least see it, how it's done. And I'm going to just tape it down like so. Oh, it slipped down, so that's okay. And so that to secure it down. So if you're doing this, I would go ahead and just wet it down already, so it becomes like a little igloo on the top of this or in the bottom of this tree, I should say. But this makes it possible for a design to be done into this. And anytime that you have this kind of finial effect, you want to think in terms of doing something that repeats that or continues that flow of material, or doing something that is complemented by the finial use. So what I thought I would do is create sort of almost like a ginkgo shape design, which is sort of very European. I'm going to start up by stabilizing this, because you can see that it's sort of rocks back and forth. So I'm going to stabilize this by using the fiber stick, and I'm going to use the 18 gauge wire as a twister right here to attach it to the handle. So this is what I like about this Gobi lantern, is that it has a handle that really helps to secure any of the mechanics that I might use to make this structure, this armature work. So I'm going to just attach this very quickly. Like that. And then I may even take this and attach the fiber stick to the neck of this as well, so it doesn't rattle quite as much, maybe. Let's do this on the front side. So all this excess wire after the fact, you just clip it off so it keeps it clean, but it's still very nice and decorative, so that it ties in nicely with the color. So this is what we have here. And then what I'm going to do to sort of set this up for a design that creates a certain flow and shape is to use a middle lino. And they also come in a variety of colors, but this makes it possible for me to create design that has sort of a significant flow, linear flow, that is complementary to this particular form that I've already started. So I'm going to, again, the handle is very vital in helping me decide the shape, determine the shape, and develop it. And I'm going to attach it to the fiber stick as well as the handle, so that it starts developing into the kind of flow that I want to create in this design. So what we're doing is actually making the shape of the arrangement, and then whatever flower that you decide to choose, the attempt is to fill it afterwards. And it doesn't have to be filled solid. That's why the foam does not have to be really a big piece. It just needs to be a small piece, so that with linear material, you fill it somewhat. That's all you're needing to do. You're not wanting to fill it so much so that you lose the beautiful line that you've created. That would be defeating the whole purpose of this design. Anytime that you put this much effort into the shape, you want to make sure that your time is being well paid for. So that's why it's very important that you don't overdo with flowers, so that you end up just filling it and losing the profit that should be part of this process. You need to be paid for your talent. So now I'm going to bring that up and around, and see, by doing this, now it starts to develop the depth. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to work with getting the girth developed on this design. And I'm just going to sort of finish off here so that you can see the depth that we're creating, but I'm attaching in several places so that it doesn't slip and lose that torque that I've created here in this structure, this armature. So now I'm going to lastly insert into the foam a little bit. Now you're going to wet this foam, don't forget. But in this demonstration, I'm just going to show how it works. By attaching it into the foam, it stabilizes it so it doesn't move around quite as much, especially when it's attached to the structure. It's all about that, is securing it by attaching it in as many places as possible. That's why it's important to use material like this number 18 gauge wire that's easy to manipulate and use, so that it's not a tedious process of tying and all that kind of nonsense that we certainly don't have time for in the world of floristry. So this is kind of what I do, and just clip off all the excess so that it looks cleaner and more polished. And then you're basically ready to design into this shape, because then you don't have to fill it full. You already have a shape already. You have the visual value in size already. So all you have to do is to just fill it with enough material so that it looks really good. And basically, the finished result is something like this. And callas are fantastic because it's a real linear feel to it, and it just complements the linear feel. Really covering the mechanics here after the fact, after you've got most of your components in, with a little bit of hydrangea or something like that, very quick, so that you don't overdo it. It's really, really important.